Hey friends, we're back. It's been just under a week. I'm here with Wally, and it's time to feed our worms, right, Wally? Wally always likes to help feed the worms. So hopefully you guys have seen some of the most recent videos that I've uploaded, but if you haven't, spoiler alert, I now have an urban worm bag version 2 in play. We're not feeding them yet. I'm thinking probably tomorrow we'll get their first feeding, so hopefully you'll see a video in the next day or so for that. It's really easy to set up so far. It's been going really well, but it's time to get our hot frog fed. So we're gonna get into that. And if you haven't noticed, I put some cool, I don't know what we want to call it, window clings on our windows here, just so we can get some more sunlight in but still keep some privacy. But we left the bottom portion open so Paw Patrol can keep all of the windows in surveillance mode. So so far it's been working out really well. I've been checking on it to make sure the worms aren't really affected, and I haven't noticed anything yet, but it's only been a few days. But to the feedings. Alright, so as always, we're going to take our top 2 layers off. Oh, they're getting heavy. And then we are going to look at this one in a second, but we're going to move this one. So we're going to look at tier 1 here, which isn't really, it's active. It could have food in it, but I'm not actively feeding it. There's probably like 5 worms in here, unless more migrated. I was just kind of letting this get settled in. It's not abundantly, like, the paper feels a little damp, but oh, there's like 5 worms. Okay. It doesn't feel tremendously damp, so it's probably a little too dry, but I'm not super worried about it because I'm not really feeding this layer right now. But I wanted to check on it. I probably will be doing a tier split soon, but I want to see how tier 3 recovered from me taking worms out for the urban worm bag. So tier 2 is our first of the essentially just kind of use what you have on hand tiers. So if you guys recall, no specific coconut core was added to this tier, so they've been doing good. There's not I put a handful of worms in here. I didn't put a tremendous amount of worms in here, but they seem to be congregating here anyways. There's quite a, there's a decent number. There's a lot of cardboard and shredded paper in here, so it doesn't smell terrible, but I do get a faint smell from here. So I'm assuming there's a dampness problem, moisture problem, if I had to guess, but I'm mostly just rummaging around. 1, trying to gauge how many worms are actually here, and then 2, trying to gauge what level of food, if any, is left in here. Okay, so this probably is where we fed last week. Okay, so I see some worms over here. Hey, worms. Okay, they look like they're doing all right. I think there's like a little bit of banana peel showing or something, but I don't want to aggravate them too much. Okay, so then let's go to this corner next week. This looks like a nice corner. So we're gonna feed over here, and all right, we'll just leave that like that. So on the menu this week are a lot of just like grab bags, essentially, of food. So I've got like a couple of baggies like this. I have some shredded sweet potato skins. So I'm thinking I'll probably end up putting this whole baggie in this tier. And then, yeah, we'll start there. Because I think that's probably close to 2 toilet paper rolls full, but given that they ate pretty much everything from last week, I'm not super worried. Actually, these wet paper towels, I'm just gonna throw in downstairs. And then I think because there's some asparagus, there's some bananas, there's an apple core, I'm gonna like loosely cover it with some of the existing stuff here. But then I love marrying them in paper towels in general. And then just for good measure, I'm going to put in some of the shredded, this is mostly paper, what's left in this bag. So we're going to just put some of this in, just because I think there might be like a slight moisture problem in here. Like not an official problem, but I feel like it's a little extra wet in here, which is fine. We can fix that. So that's a pretty decent size feeding. Oh shoot, forgot the sweet potato part. Well, next layer. Next layer. So that brings us, put these back in here. All right, so tier 4. So this is our second oldest tier right now and has not been split yet. However, I think I'm going to be splitting it soon, and I think I'm going to go so far as to say, yeah, there's a lot of worms here, which is also where the food was, which is good. But this tier in general has been powering through a lot of food, and I've been trying to, you know, if you guys have noticed, I do like some watermelon and then like some savory food. So, you know, because diversity is really important, but you know, there's clearly a little piece of banana left from last week, which is normal. So I'm going to try and find an area that maybe doesn't have as many worms. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I feed them in that area or was it this area? I'm always suspicious where the paper towels are because that's usually where I feed, but that looks like last time or time before that. Okay, this corner, we're just gonna stick to this right corner today. So I am gonna feed again with the intention, hopefully, of splitting this bin like I sort of split bin or tier 3. And if you guys missed that video, check it out. But the abridged version is I went in a few days before I was going to feed them again, so a couple days ago, and where there was the biggest worm ball, that's the worms that I took out and I used somewhere else. So we're gonna I think that method's working really well, but we haven't checked on bin 3 yet, so I don't actually know, but I'm pretty sure it's a good idea. So we'll give them a nice hearty feeding, and I kept this one. It has more of the sweets, so there's a couple apple cores, some banana peel, and like, you know, there's some spinach and whatever in there, but it's mostly the good stuff they like. So that hopefully will go over well, and then they'll be easier to migrate. I'm gonna just cover with the usual paper towel area so we know what we're dealing with next time. And when I split or pull the worms out of here, I will definitely be making sure you guys are along for that. But I think this tier in particular has a lot of worms in it. So what I'm hoping to do is when I split this one, I'm going to take the worms that congregate at the food pile, bring them down to tier 1, and we'll get that tier started. But because there's a lot of castings in here, actually, as you guys can probably tell, let me show you. It's getting pretty full in here. So I'm gonna probably go about it the same way as tier 3, in that we took some of the worms out. We'll probably give them 1 or 2 more feedings, and then we'll start the starving process. I just want it to be a little bit more spaced out. So whichever tier I start starving, I'll probably wait a week or 2 before the other one starts starving, because they were both started within about a month of each other. So I think this tier in particular, though, even though this one was started later, seems to have more food in it, or more castings, I should say. All right, so we're gonna put tier 3 up here, and then we'll do Or actually, yeah, I'm not gonna put more bedding in there. I think they're okay. All right, so tier 3 is back, and then we'll do our renter's mess check. And renter mess check says we got one nice little cluster here, which is honestly no different than what puppies bring in. Okay, all right, let's get into tier 3 here. Hold on one second. Let me just dump this pile in here really quick. Oops, sorry, worms. And then I'll adjust the camera so you guys can see what we're looking at here. Okay, not too much activity. Oh, okay, just kidding. Hello. Hello, friends. What you doing? Seems to be a party over here. So we'll make sure they stay nice and safe in there. Okay, so this is the tier that you saw me take food out of specifically to go in our new urban worm bag to get that started. We took up some of the castings as well to help the microbial life get going in there. And in that same moment, we took this area, which is where they had been congregating from the last feeding. We took a lot of the food remnants that were left. Not that we took all of it, but we took a lot of it. So there was just a little bit of food in there, in the urban worm bag, just to get it jump started while we get them settled in. But I know they had a little less food than they would probably like. So as you guys can tell, there's still plenty of bedding in here, but it is getting pretty full. So I'm gonna give them, you know what, we'll keep up on this corner over here, which I think we fed in fairly recently on this tier, but we're gonna give them a feeding today. I don't want to deprive, I'm not gonna deprive them. And now, so here's my little test that I want to do. I know I took a lot of worms out. I don't know how many worms I took out. You guys gotta watch that video and tell me what you think. But worm on the floor. With that being said, if I know that there are worms missing, not missing, but the worm levels have decreased in here, theoretically I should probably feed them less, but I think I'm going to keep on feeding them about the same amount because they were burning through it really quickly. So I'm optimistic that they will feed on this stuff pretty well, especially because this has a lot of banana peels in there, so like a little piece of berry in here and stuff. So I'm thinking with the sweet foods, they tend to cover those quicker. So I'm not expecting them to let that food sit, I think. I don't know. We'll find out. Hope that was a weird train of thought, but I think you guys know what I meant. So we'll do a light covering. I'm trying not to add too much additional bedding in here because there's clearly plenty in here, and I want them to start focusing on that a little bit more so we can start not harvesting, but at least starting them for a future harvest. That's the dream, at least. So that concludes this week's feeding of the hot frog. Like I said, make sure you check the videos for the first official feeding of the urban worm bag. I'm super stoked about that. I don't know how well it's going to go, given that it's outside in Florida in the summer. But make sure if you're into that, or you think you might be into that, check out that playlist. I'm making a separate playlist just for that stuff in case you're interested. But it's a very interesting experience so far. We'll put it that way. So I hope you guys come along with that ride. And if not, I'll check back with you guys in about a week or so when we feed again or when we split, whatever comes first.